Hello everybody, this is the one and the only Divine Iconoclast. And today, I'm going to be reviewing an album. This album is called Storm the Gates by Venom. Now, a bit of history of Venom. They are considered a pioneering black metal band from Britain in the early 80s, releasing so-called classic albums such as Welcome to Hell on black metal, and completely shaping and forming how the genre sounds, how they're supposed to act, what they're supposed to sing about, and all that stuff. And while that's the consensus on what most people believe, I don't. I'm of the firm belief that Venom is not a black metal band, not whatsoever, not even in the slightest. And that Venom is also very bad. I'm gonna be straight up with you. I've listened to the first two Venom albums. This is the only Venom album I've listened to other than those first two, and I do not like them at all. I think black metal is just not that great of an album, and I absolutely hate Welcome to Hell. Welcome to Hell is probably my second least favorite metal album of all time, except for another probably surprising pick. Scum by Napalm Death is my least favorite metal album that I've ever heard in my whole life. I hate Scum by Napalm Death, and I hate Welcome to Hell almost as much as I hate Scum. So yeah, that's a bit of my background with the band. So I'm obviously going into this review with a very negatively biased, with a negative bias and very big, I went into this album wanting to hate it, basically. And I fully admit that because I don't like Venom. But I saw it pop up on my Spotify thing that Venom released a new album. I was like, I'll listen to it, why not? And I looked at the cover of it, I was like, oh, the cover is actually kind of cool. It's a lot better than the early Venom stuff, which I don't hate the cover for black metal, but the cover from Welcome to Hell I just don't like very much. I just hate that album. I own it, actually, which is really weird. But I own it specifically because one day I'm going to destroy it in, the most epic way possible. I'm gonna burn it, I'm gonna smash it, I'm gonna, sing satanic hymns while doing all of this out in the middle of the woods while it's snowing. That's my plan. Anyways, back to the album at hand. Storm the Gates by Venom. How does this album stand up to other Venom albums? Wow, I was really shocked whenever I listened to this thing. The very first thing that stuck out to me was the extreme upgrade in production quality. Early Venom is produced extremely sloppily. Not that I care that much about it, because I listen to Bathory and Darkthrone and, other black metal bands that have even worse production than Venom does. But the vocals are produced so badly on the early Venom albums, I just cannot stand the vocals on them. They're bad. And I'm also gonna say this right now, the vocals are the worst thing about this album too. Cronus, I think is what his name is. I don't remember exactly, I don't really like Venom, so I don't keep up with them. But his vocals are really bad. I legit think the band would be better off with almost any other vocalist other than him. But, he's in the band and he's the main figurehead of it, him and his amazingly large forehead. So, he's there to stay. And that the vocals also aren't produced bad, I just don't like his vocals. I think they're the worst thing on the album. But the production qualities on this entire album is amazing. The drums are extremely punchy, especially the snare drum I really like. The one minor complaint I have about the snare drum is that, not the snare drum, this is the drums in general, is that the bass drum is pretty inaudible, but I don't mind that much. Most of the time it didn't matter to me at all. I wasn't sitting there thinking, man, where's the bass drum? I was more like, yeah, this music, because, I really like this album. It's a big, big shocker to me. The guitar is produced incredibly. It's nice and heavy, but it isn't too overproduced to where it doesn't sound like a human is playing it. The bass, whenever you can hear it, sounds really good, but most of the time on the album you can't hear the bass. That's to be expected from metal, though. And that's for the production. As for the actual songs themselves, they're really freaking heavy, amazingly heavy. Early Venom is not heavy at all to me. I listen to it, and I don't really honestly feel anything other than disgust. And I did actually go back and listen to the first two Venom albums again. Well, not the whole thing, but I went back and listened to part of them before this review just to make sure I was, had my memories correct. And yeah, I still don't like the albums. I have listened to them as of a couple minutes before recording this, and I still don't like them, at least what I heard from them. But this album is very, very heavy. It has tinges of even death metal in certain points, with certain tracks on here that I didn't write down because, why not? Having death metal breakdowns in them, or death metal chromatic riffing in them, it's wow, it's amazing. The death metal influence on this album is not to be understated. It's definitely there, and it's present, and I love it. It's awesome. There's also a slight black metal influence to the songs. Well, I should say basically one song in particular, and that's I Dark Lord. with like some like weird tremolo picked guitar chords that sound dissonant and evil and stuff. But that's about it. And this is not a black metal album from a band that is not black metal. Venom is not a black metal band, and this is not a black metal album from a black metal band, because Venom is black metal. I'm going to state that up front, because I fully believe that the first black metal band was Bathory. No Celtic Frost or Hellhammer. Neither of them are black metal, nor are they death metal. They're thrash metal bands. With, I should say, proto, you know, they're proto that genre. And I can even give Venom some credit for creating the name black metal, but there were many bands at the time of Venom that were heavier than them and more evil sounding than them. Anyways, I need to stop ranting on Venom and actually talk about the music. Yeah, so slight black metal influence on I Dark Lord, specifically that one track on there, which is my least favorite song on the whole album. It sounds like they're trying way, way, way too hard to be evil, and like it's like a 15-year-old kid wants to shock his mom, so he picks up the guitar and learns the most dissonant, evil guitar chords he can have, and then sings I Dark Lord over the chorus, except for the fact that not Corthon, that's Bathory, my bad, that Cronus doesn't do black metal vocals. He kind of just like shouts, kind of, I guess, with a lot of reverb on it, and it sounds like crap. There's also some pretty technical guitar solos on here that I like. Especially, I think it was either the first or the second track. There was a really technical one on there. But besides from that, I think all the guitar work on this album is amazing. This album hits you with riff after riff after riff that just knocks your socks off. Amazing writing on the guitar part here. Absolutely love it. I'm assuming the bass does the same thing most of the time as the guitar, except for the 2 moments on the album where it's highlighted, and the 2 moments where it sounds good. And I enjoy the bass writing on here. Definitely isn't awful. As for the songwriting as a whole, I feel like it could be better. There's not many interesting turns or twists on this album. Sometimes there are, and they're mainly in some of the earlier tracks, but as the album goes on a bit more, the songwriting becomes a bit more conventional, doesn't take as many unique twists and turns as it did in the early part of the album. It's not awful, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the songwriting's bad or anything, but it definitely could be improved on this album. What else about this album? Yeah, I honestly think that about sums up my feelings on this thing, you know? It's really heavy, the guitar sounds awesome, the bass is awesome, the drums are awesome, great songwriting, well not great, but you know, good songwriting. The songs are amazing. I loved, whenever I turned it on and I started listening to it, I was like, oh, this is amazing, you know? It was a really big surprise to me that I actually liked this album. I just wish that Kronos wasn't on the vocals, and I think that's the same. I might have been saying his name wrong the whole time, but I didn't look it up beforehand. It overall has a really kick-ass speed metal, traditional metal vibe to it, and it really reminded me of like classic Motorhead, with like a slight death metal tinge to it for the most part. And the only real complaints I have about the album are the songwriting can be kind of shoddy at times, and the vocals aren't all that amazing. My favorite songs on here, which this was honestly kind of hard to pick from because almost all the songs in this album are really freaking good. But it was Bring Out Your Dead, 100 Miles to Hell, Dark Night of the Soul, and the title track, Storm the Gates. The worst songs on here was the really, really edgy song, I Dark Lord, and then there's this other song called We the Loud, which reminds me of Welcome to Hell too much. It's not heavy, it's really boring and crappy. I don't know, the whole song just reminded me of the album Welcome to Hell. It's like not my favorite song in the world. Just kind of generic in all honesty. So my overall score for this thing is going to be an 8 out of 10. Make sure to comment down in the comments why I'm wrong and why Venom is the first black metal band, like if you're Razor Fist, even though he's wrong there. And Razor Fist also, I think, has Welcome to Hell as the second favorite black metal album of all time. I don't fucking understand that. That album is so bad, and I will fight to the death to, you know, exclaim my opinion on that. It's an awful album. I hate Welcome to Hell by Venom. But not this one, though. This one gets an 8 out of 10, like I said. Also, make sure to comment down in the comment section why I'm wrong, and this is actually the worst Venom album of all time. Or if it's the best, I don't know. I mean, according to me, this is the best Venom album, but I also haven't heard all of their stuff, so who knows. Or you can do the nice thing, you can do the correct thing in this situation, and comment in the comment section down below why I'm right. Because validating my opinion is the only reason why I do these things. I don't enjoy listening to music. I don't even like heavy metal. I just say stuff, and I hope that someone validates my opinions. because at the end of the day, I'm just sad and alone, sitting in my room all day, every day. You know, just playing the guitar. Occasionally getting enough strength and willpower to write music. Anyways, Venom, the gates, Storm the Gates, rather. I forgot what the first word was. 8 out of 10. Goodbye.